Go ahead and light your candles, pour your coffee, grab your wine, and let's talk. Why, hello, and welcome back to my channel. This is what we have resorted to. Also, if my lighting changes, I'm so sorry, but we're on the struggle bus a little bit today, okay? But I wanted to be able to come to you guys and talk about this just because I've been seeing so many videos, I've been having questions, I've had the most amazing messages, and it's about being a military wife, and especially getting through, I think, deployments or separations or TDYs or camps or whatever it is that they're doing. Then on top of it, PCSing overseas. And so, speaking of which, that's my husband messaging me. But anyways, I wanted to come on here and I wanted to chat because I wanted to first off just say, for everybody who's sent a personal message to me saying how they appreciate what I've been putting out here, especially talking about being a military wife, kind of just showing my life. I started this channel when my husband had just left for deployment. He's still gone. Basically by the end of it, it'll be about 13 months that he's been gone. And so many of you guys have just said that I've encouraged you, which for a very, very long time, I never really made a lot of videos about being a military spouse because I just didn't want to be that dependent. I didn't want to seem like I'm that dependent or anything. But then when I see messages like this, it made me realize, you know, Ariana, you do have a truth. You have, you know, your experiences, and why not share that? Because clearly sharing that has helped others, and I'm always about trying to help and be a positive and just be real for anybody going through anything that might be relatable to me. Something that is very exciting is we are in the home stretch, you guys. We have less than 30 days before my husband's home. We are doing our first family PCS ever. We're going overseas. If you're new to my channel, we are going to Italy. It is a lot of effing changes. And all I have to say is, one, if you came to this thinking that I'm going to be one of those military spouses that's always like prim and perfect, obviously you can see that's not the case. We're still in my robe. But if you do want somebody who is always going to keep it real with you, then this is the channel for you. I've had a couple videos already that are more strategic on PCSing and some tips. This is just overall, I guess you could say, my whole journey. I feel like my wrap up of this year. Overall, I can say that being separated from your spouse, I think there's no elephant in the room. We all know it sucks. But I do think that there are things that we can do. I think there's things that can happen even with PCSing that can make it a better process. One of the things that I saw the other day was somebody was posting a video or something like that, and they were just like, well, you know, I don't want to tell my husband that I've had like a crappy day or something like that. No, girl. You tell your husband if you've had a crappy day. You tell your spouse if you have had a crappy day. And the reason is because I believe that communication is absolutely one of the pillars of the foundation of a great marriage. And I think especially a great marriage to somebody who is in a field like this, military or anything where it's stressful. And the reason being is because if you keep pinning everything in, if you keep holding everything in, if you keep putting everything on your shoulders, then that is why you're going to crack. I don't think it's fair to your spouse if you keep acting like, honey, everything's perfect, and then all of a sudden one day you're a crazy freaking chick and they're like, where did this come from? And then there's that resentment that like you didn't tell them. So when you are having a crappy day, just tell them how you're having a crappy day. Like, that is part of being in a marriage, that's part of being a spouse. In general, tell your spouse, tell your significant other how you are feeling. But don't feel like you have to put everything on yourself. I think a lot of times, and I feel like I see a lot of these like young women and wives and new girlfriends and stuff think that watching Army Wives that they're supposed to just be at home and act like everything's prim and perfect. Like, no, this is not Army Wives. This is real life. You need to be able to talk to your spouse. And how can we deal with it as a couple? You need to figure out what works specifically in your relationship. My husband could probably attest that I am somebody who very much so is vocal on when I'm upset, when I'm stressed, when I'm having an anxiety episode, but that's what he's supposed to be. Do you get what I mean? And I'm the same for him. Like, we're each other's rocks, and you should have that person that you feel safe and you feel comfortable with to vent. Other thing is, you can set yourself up for better success by not just like wallowing and figuring out things to do to occupy your time. Overall, you guys, when I look at this, I'm like, wow, this actually went by fast, which is crazy because I did not think it was going to go by this fast. Like, don't get me wrong. There were days, there were weeks, there were months that seemed long. But overall, when I look at this as a whole, I'm like, wow, what did happen this last year? Like, it seems like it just flew by. And I think that's because I made sure to set myself up in things that kept me busy, kept me going, and not, like I said, just sitting and kind of wallowing in it. Other thing is, when we got to kind of this excitement period of realizing, like, holy crap, we're moving, we're PCSing, the stress of this being our first PCS ever, I really kind of dove into researching and doing a lot of stuff to prepare for our move, which I think also took a lot of time up, which is something that I would also kind of go into when it comes to overseas. And this is kind of just some tips that I would just say in general. If you're going to be somebody who's going to any new duty station, base, post, whatever, research where you're going to, whether it's in the States or not. Also, I highly encourage seeing if there's like Facebook groups and stuff dedicated to that particular, and I'm going to be saying base because that's what we call any particular base. Maybe there's groups of interest that you're into. So like for us, I joined, which was like a gamble, but I'm glad I did. I joined the spouses page, I joined their community page, I joined the pets page, I joined the like mothers group. Like, I joined all kinds of things so that way I could kind of hype myself up and also get excited, get to feel like I knew where I was going to be going to. I think nothing is probably more terrifying, and of course having anxiety, if you don't take that time to look at where you're going, maybe try to get to know some people before you go, and you just plop yourself into a whole new environment, because you're already going to be in so much shock and different things in general, let alone you add on that element of just going in blind. I feel like it's too much for me. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really have a lot of sympathy sometimes when I see some people doing nothing but complaining about their experience, and it's like, well, but what did you actively do to try to make yourself have a better experience? And so when I see people just complaining, like, well, I can't find any friends, you know, this sucks, and you get what I mean. It's the people who are just constant of just complaining, and you're like, okay, well, did you attempt to reach out and even go to, like, you know, your spouse's group? Did you attempt to even go out of your neighborhood or your house and, you know, talk to your neighbors, any of the sort? And if people's answer is no, it's like, well then, I mean, what did you expect? Not everything could be handed to you. You have to make that effort. That's just how I feel. I mean, I was pretty terrified, I would say probably about a month ago, where it really hit me that I was like, oh my God, I'm going there. I don't know anybody. I don't have any friends. I don't have this comfort blanket of being able to say I'm going to just, you know, drive home if I need to or anything of the sort. But I made myself be like, you know what? You're going to look at what can you do, even if it's outside of your comfort zone. So I joined the MOPS group, which if any of you are mothers, I highly suggest it. It is basically a mother of preschool age children. So you get together with other mothers, your kids get together with other kids and have like little play dates and stuff like that, which to me, it's like, why would you not do something like that at least allows you an organized way that you're not having to do it yourself. You just show up and at least you get to kind of meet some people. It doesn't mean you have to be best friends with everybody, but at least you're getting out there and you're kind of connecting. Especially if you have children, it's important, because like for my child, he's known daycare his entire life basically, because I was working before I became stay-at-home. And so for him, that's not fair either, to have him in an environment where he's always had, you know, his friends and stuff, and then put him isolated in a house with me. So I want him to feel like we go to a new place and he gets to meet new kids, he gets to make new friends. I think something that was also a huge blessing and amazing is on Instagram, I think I was like shouted out or something, and I'm calling her my friend already, but basically we're gonna say my friend messaged me. I don't know if she wants me to put this out there. So my friend messaged me, and it was so nice and so refreshing, and we have just been talking, and she's somebody who I'm like, I cannot wait to meet her. I can't wait for our kids to get to play. But it's so comforting because when you reach out and when you talk and you take those steps, because I know for anybody, I'm pretty extroverted, but I can still be shy, you know, like this is a huge thing. But to have that and still be like, let me talk, let me do this. And we have just clicked, and knowing that also our kids are about the same age, and like I said, our kids can play, it makes me feel so comfortable knowing that if anything, at least I know there's one comforting soul that's there that first off gets it of this whole process, but then also I feel like I have, because as much as your spouse is your best friend, we all know, especially as a woman, you want to be able to make friends. And remember, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. I'm the type that even if I have that one friend at a base, I am golden. I just don't ever want to isolate myself. I guess let me talk a little bit about what we're still going through with our process with PCSing. If you guys want me to make specific videos about this, let me know. So I've gone back and forth about making a specific pet video, but I don't know. So basically, I just want to say that we have only have to do our certificate, which you have to have this health certificate for your animal before you can bring them, but we can't do it yet. It has to be within 10 days of entering the country, which was the biggest stressor of all time because I could not get a hold of the base that we were trying to go to for the life of me. And finally, we kind of came up with a plan B. I was able to get in touch with another base that's on the way on our road trip. And so although things are going to have to be juggled around a little bit, I am happy to report that we have got our appointment for Lila to be able to go in and get the paperwork done for her to get that health certificate to come with us. I have already gotten her medication for the airplane, and so we tested it to see how the dose was with her. They allow pets now, and they actually recommend it more so for them to have trazodone, which anybody who maybe has had this is like anxiety or anything, it kind of just calms you down, but it doesn't knock you out. And I tried it. It worked really well with her. I think I'm going to end up giving her basically like a double dose because it's a low dose. So it's like I tried it with her and she was just kind of like chill, but she still had like energy and everything. But like when it comes to the plane, I think I'll just give her like a double dose so she's like super good and feeling good. She has already gotten her shots. Something that I cannot stress enough is research, and more research of any and everything that you have to get, you have to do, especially if you are going overseas. Not every base, not every country is the same. So don't think because you know somebody or something like that, or somebody's telling what you need to do and they went to Japan and you're behind having to go to Germany, that those are the same. So make sure that you look at what you specifically have to do. Make yourself a little checklist. I'm all about my checklist, and just go down your checklist. We have gotten our international driver's licenses already. The only thing that now is, of course, the stressor is our actual travel passports. I forgot to say we've also gotten our visas. So if anything, we can get into Italy and we can be in the country, but we cannot leave Italy so far because I sent in our regular travel passports. Ours had expired, so we needed to renew it, and it still hasn't come. I finally last night checked to be like, oh my gosh, like, did I fill something out wrong? Does it at least say they got it, or like what's happening? Because I've never had passports take this long, you guys. And it said that it's in processing, which makes me feel like, okay, at least it's not denied, I don't think. But they're saying that it's still like a 6 to 8 week processing time, which we do not have. So right now, I'm just praying to the gods that everything works out, even if we get that passport the day before we have to get on the road. But that is the current status, I feel like, of our PCS season. I think that's about it on this video. I feel like this was kind of all over the place, but I just needed to like get that off my chest and kind of just talk about that stuff because I've just been seeing, because it's PCS season, different things. So yeah, let me know if there's anything specific that you guys would want in terms of still with this PCS process. Let me know down below. Also, just in general, if there's any sort of sit down topics you want me to talk about, leave it down below. I'm going to be making a lot of sort of like sit down or kind of pre-made videos that will be uploaded. They're going to be scheduled to upload, so that way I'm not stressing myself out about if I don't have internet or internet's really slow while we're on the road and while we're traveling. Make sure you have your notifications turned on, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
No matter how you talk with me.